Good morning, students. In the earlier class, we were discussing about geographical segmentation and uh, demographic segmentation, under which from various variables we have discussed so far. So, psychographic segmentation for 2 marks in your SEM exam, it is nothing but dividing the entire heterogeneous market into small micro parts, micro units on the basis of characteristics of consumers. So, characteristics in the sense their attitudes, their priority, their lifestyle, their social class, etc., etc. So, psychographic always deals with psychology of the consumer. Psychology, in the sense, their personality, their personality traits, how do they grown up from their childhood? So, what are their surroundings? What are their societal class, etc., etc. So, for 2 marks, psychographic segmentation definition is the process of creating clusters of customers who share similar characteristics and then grouping them together. So, very easy to remember, dividing the entire market on the basis of customers' characteristics. Customers' characteristics involves their personality traits, their motivational factors, their beliefs, their prioritizations, their social class, etc. But among all the segmentation, psychographic segmentation is very difficult because it deals with psychology of the consumers. So collecting these psychographic segmentation related data is very difficult, and if it is very accurate, then ultimately manufacturers or producers product gets success. So these are the variables of uh, psychographic segmentation. So first variable is lifestyle. So lifestyle, how a person chooses to spend his or her time and money on activities. That means what are his activities are, what are his tastes and preferences are, uh, and how his lifestyle is. That means early morning, what does he goes for jogging, he do yoga, or he go early to the office, etc., etc. So precisely lifestyle. See, for 5 marks, if they ask briefly explain psychographic segmentation, you have to describe, you have to explain each and variable in detail to get 5 marks. So lifestyle, while explaining lifestyle, it is a person, how a person chooses to spend his or her valuable time and money on those activities, which activities he is interested to, and goods or services combine to become one's lifestyle. So lifestyle is the most concrete insight into what someone truly values or how they spend their time and money. In principles of marketing, this concept is very important. We call it as AIO variable. A stands for activities, I stands for interest, and O stands for opinion. So AIO, it is an individual person's activities, what are his interested activities are, and what are his interests are, and what are his opinions. So opinions, all these things are related straightly to psychology of an individual. So then comes the another variable called attitudes and values. See, all the psychographic segmentation variables depends upon how a person is, what are his characteristics are, and what is his personality is. So an individual has been raised, and the experiences they have been exposed is the basic thing for his or her attitudes and values. So one's attitude toward a certain event or product or advertisement will likely be a result of those values. The next variable is personality. Personality is not only outer look of a person. Personality is derived from the Italian word persona, and persona, the exact meaning of persona is the mask. Because according to psychological experts says, each and every person always wears a mask. Behind the mask, there is a someone else. So if any person, if an individual one intends to become great personality, then he has to throw out that mask. So, when a segmenting by personality, one must consider factors such as their personality always depends upon beliefs, morals, motivations, and overall outlook on life. That is the insight of how he looks about his lifestyle. Knowing users' personality and characteristics, character are very important factors, but at the same time, it's very difficult to measure it. So, how do we measure? That means, does a particular user have a sense of humor? That how do we identify one's quality, one's personalities or individual's quality? What is his sense of humors are? And are they are they straight in their conversation? That is straight faced. Is the user analytical and number based like engineers or mathematicians, or do they prefer the human elements of a story? So there are two parts in individuals or human beings brain, they say left and right. So left brain always interested in calculations, numbers, etc. Right always deals with emotions of the person. So balancing, identifying consumers personality is very important under psychographic segmentation. Another thing is social status. Social status is nothing but purchasing capacity of a person. Purchasing capacity, that means money he is going to spend to acquire ownership of a goods or service always depends upon his level of income. So the level of income and this social status is very flexible, very dynamic in nature. Because if a person at certain point of time, if a person comes under lower middle class or lower class, after few years or after few time, he may comes under upper class by his efforts, by his earning capacities, by his attitudes towards life, etc. So, when a producer or marketer or manufacturer think of the class hierarchy in society, they mainly concerned with purchasing capacity of an individual, purchasing power. This purchasing power directly deals with or tied to marketing efforts, since the goal is to reach and convince the decision maker to buy product or service. So if you are wrong in identifying the social class, that means if you are going to introduce a car, or if you are going to start manufacturing car worth rupees 50 lakh, and your target customer are those people who intends to buy a car within a price range of rupees 3 lakh to 5 lakh, then you are totally wrong and your product may get failed. So if manufacturer or producers target wrong social class, they won't be able, that consumers won't be able or willing to purchase from a manufacturer. And other variable is activities and interests are. Even earlier slide also we have discussed AIO concept. So everyone has varying interests and hobbies, and being aware of them can boost your and directly impact on manufacturers or producers marketing efforts. If example, a market a food delivery app like Zomato, Swiggy and all, then you have to identify the user's activities are. If he intends to go out, whether he intends to go out and eat, and if he intends to sit at a home idly and order for the food, etc., etc. So you have to identify the activities and interest of the consumers. And another variable under psychographic segmentation is priorities and motivations are. While lifestyle is a good indication of what people actually prioritize, if a consumer intends to buy home appliances, that is refrigerator, television, and washing machine, at the same time he intends to buy a car, at the same time he intends to go for a foreign trip, then what are his priorities are? First step, he intends to buy home appliances. Later, second priority is buying a car, and at last priority is foreign trip. Then that is how you have to identify an individual's priorities. And the motivation is again it related to personality trait. Personality trait always depending upon the social class or circumstances where he brought up. So while lifestyle is a good indication of what people actually prioritize, understanding what people are motivated to prioritize is very important. So the psychographic segmentation in some exam they ask for 2 marks. Define psychographic segmentation. Defining psychographic segmentation, it is nothing but dividing a large heterogeneous market into small or micro unit on the basis of characteristics of the consumers, including their beliefs, including their activities, including their social class, including their lifestyle. So this is for 2 marks, and explaining all these variables for 5 marks. So you have to make all these slides note. You have to write in your notes about all these segmentations, because segmentation is very important concept from SEM point of